हेलो एवरीवन, आज हम पढ़ेंगे क्लास 8th हिस्ट्री का चैप्टर नंबर 7 वीवर्स, आयरन स्मेल्टर्स एंड फैक्ट्री ओनर्स। इस वीडियो में हम एनसीईआरटी टेक्स्ट बुक सॉल्यूशन को पढ़ेंगे। तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं वीडियो को। क्वेश्चन नंबर 1, व्हाट काइंड्स ऑफ क्लॉथ हैड अ लार्ज मार्केट इन यूरोप? आंसर, चिंद, कोसास एंड वंदना। वंदना word was derived from the word vandan. It referred to a variety of brightly colored cloth produced through a method of tying and dyeing. Next question, what is jamdani? Answer, jamdani is a fine muslin on which decorative motifs are woven on the loom, typically in grey and white. Next question, what is bandhana? Answer, bandhana is a bright colored and printed scarf for neck and head. This word was derived from the word bandhan. It referred to a variety of brightly colored cloth produced through a method of tying and dyeing. Next question, who was aguerias? Answer, groups of men and women carrying basket loads of iron are known as aguerias. Next question, fill in the blanks. The word chins come from the word chind. Tipu's sword was made of wood steel. India's textile export declined in the 19th century. Next question, how do the names of different textiles tell us about their history? Answer, European traders first saw fine cotton cloth from India in Mosul in present-day Iraq. They referred to all finely woven textile as muslin. Portuguese first came to India in search of spices and landed in Calicut on the Kerala coast in southwest India. They took back cotton textile to Europe along with the spices. They named it calico. Subsequently, calico became the general name for all cotton textile. Many other words point to the popularity of Indian textiles in Western markets. The pieces included printed cotton cloths called chins, koses, and vandana is a brightly colored and printed scarf for the neck or head. This term was derived from the word bandhan, Hindi for tying. Other cloths were known by their place of origin: Kasim Bazar, Patna, Calcutta, Odisha, and Charpur. The widespread use of such words shows how popular Indian textile had become in different parts of the world. Next question, why did the wool and silk producers in England protest against the import of Indian textiles in the early 18th century? Answer, textile industry had just begun to develop in England in the early 18th century. The wool and silk producers in England found themselves unable to compete with Indian textiles. They wanted to secure the market within the country by preventing the entry of Indian textiles. Therefore, they protested against its import. Next question, how did the development of cotton industries in Britain affect textile producers in India? Answer, cotton industries in Britain developed and adversely affected textile producers in India in several ways. Indian textiles faced competition from British textiles in the European and American markets. Exports of textiles to England became more and more difficult because the British government imposed very high duties on Indian textiles. In the beginning of the 19th century, cotton textiles made in Britain successfully ousted Indian goods from their traditional markets in Africa, America, and Europe. Thousands of weavers in India were now thrown out of employment. Bengal weavers were the worst hit. English and European companies stopped to buy Indian goods. Their agents no longer gave out advances to weavers to secure supplies. Deserted, distressed weavers wrote petitions to the government to help them By the 1830s, British cotton cloth flooded Indian markets. Actually, by the 1870s, 67% of all the cotton cloths worn by Indians were made of cotton cloth produced in Britain. This affected not only specialist weavers but also spinners. Thousands of rural spinner women were rendered jobless. Next question. Why did the Indian iron smelting industry decline in the 19th century? Answer. These were several reasons. The new forest law of the colonial government prevented people from entering the reserve forest. Now, it became difficult for the iron smelters to find wood for charcoal. Getting iron ore was also a big problem. Hence, many gave up their craft and looked for other jobs. In some areas, the government did grant access to the forest, but the iron smelters had to pay a very high taxes to the forest department for every furnace they used. This reduced their income. By the late 19th century, iron and steel were being imported from Britain. Iron smiths in India began using the imported iron to manufacture utensils and implements. This inevitably lowered the demand for iron produced by local smelters. All these reasons caused the decline of the Indian iron smelting industry. Next question. What problems did the Indian textile industry face in the early years of its development? Answer. During the early period of its development, the textile industry in India faced many problems. In most countries, governments supported local manufacturers by imposing heavy duties on imports. This finished the competition and protected their infant industries. English producers wanted a secure market within the country by preventing the entry of Indian textiles. British government enacted the Calico Act. The colonial government in India usually refused such protection to local industries. Next question. What helped TISCO expand steel production during the First World War? Answer. Before the First World War, India imported British steel for rails. When in 1914 the war broke out, steel produced in Britain now had to meet the demands of the war in Europe, so imports of British steel into India declined and the Indian Railway turned to TISCO for the supply of rails. As the war dragged on the several years, TISCO had to produce shells and carriage wheels for the war. By 1919, the colonial government was buying 90% of the steel manufactured by TISCO. Over time, TISCO became the biggest steel industry within the British Empire. Next question. Find out about the history of any craft around the area you live in. You may wish to know about the community of craftsmen, the changes in the techniques they use, and the markets they supply. How have these changed in the past 50 years? Answer. History of handloom weaving. Spinning of thread, weaving by julahas in village, sale of the fabric in the local market, looms were set up, fabric woven for local, national and international markets, power looms, international markets. Changes in the past 50 years. Constitution of All India Handloom Board in 1952. Government support for the supply of yarn, dye, chemical, etc. Encouragement by giving awards, insurance cover against calamities, etc. Very short answer type question. Question number 1. Give 2 reasons why Indian textiles were renowned all over the world. Answer. Their fine quality and beautiful craftsmanship made them renowned all over the world. Next question. Why were printed Indian cotton textile popular in England? Answer. Printed Indian cotton textile were popular in England for their exquisite floral design, fine texture and relative cheapness. Next question. During which period patola weaving was famous? Answer. It was famous during the mid-19th century. Next question. Name the origin of the word calico. Answer. Calicut. Next question. Name the important centers of Jamdani weaving. Answer: Decca in Bengal and Lucknow in the United Provinces, UP. Next question: name two places where chins were produced during the mid 19th century. Answer: Machilipatnam and Andhra Pradesh. Next question: how did European trading companies purchase cotton and silk textile in India? Answer: European trading companies purchased cotton and silk textile in India by importing silver. Next question: name the household spinning instrument. Answer: charkha and takli. Next question: what did Mahatma Gandhi urge people during the national movement? Answer: during the national movement, Mahatma Gandhi urged people to boycott imported textile and use hand spun and hand woven cloth. Next question: what became a symbol of nationalism? Answer: khadi became a symbol of nationalism. Next question: how did growth of cotton mills in the country prove to be a boon for the poor peasants, artisans and agricultural laborers? Answer: they got work in the mills. Next question: how did Indian cotton factories prove to be helpful during the First World War? Answer: they began to produce cotton. They produced cloth for military supplies. Next question: why was Tipu's sword so special? Answer: Tipu's sword was made of wood steel. Wood steel, when made into sword, produced a very sharp edge and that could easily rip through the opponent's armor. Next question: why was the wood steel making process completely lost by the mid 19th century? Answer: there are two reasons for it. The sword and armor making industry died with the conquest of India by the British. Imports of iron and steel from England displaced the iron and steel produced by craftsmen in India. Next question: what were the furnaces made of? Answer: the furnaces were made of clay and sun dried bricks. Next question: why were bellows used? Answer: bellows were used to keeping the charcoal burning. Next question: what were the piece goods? Answer: piece goods were usually woven cloth pieces that were 20 yards long and 1 yard wide.